Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Wicked Art. It's Wicked here, and it is Fun Draw Friday. So, we are going to be drawing, not like 100% Inosuke, if that's how you pronounce his name. Anyway, he's my favorite character from Demon Slayer, the guy with the pig head. I just think he's funny. But anyway, yeah, we're going to be drawing Inosuke. Okay. So, first thing I'm going to do, just for now, is we're going to draw in a circle for the head, just so that I have a basic reference in place to where to put the pig head afterwards. So next thing I'm going to do is we're going to put him in a very dynamic pose here. So I'm going to kind of make it to where he's kind of jumping at the screen, or the viewer, if you will. So we're going to start doing things like building out the shoulder muscles and trap muscles. And of course, this is going to be, more along the lines of, my style of drawing him. Just honestly, just because I don't ever like doing anything in the same vein as the show. That way, it doesn't come off like I'm just, copying verbatim what the character on the show looks like. But that's just a personal choice on my end. So I'm just building out the line work for, like I said, the shoulders. Probably need to cut that down a little bit more. So let's get a little bit more shape in there. And I'm just building out, like I said, the shoulder muscles and the lead into the chest. So you're going to see me kind of go back and forth here just to build up the shapes evenly. So I'm just going to continue to go like across the body and things like that, just to keep it balanced, I guess would be the best word, just so it doesn't start looking too crazy. Okay, so we got that. Since we're going to be doing kind of like an overly dramatic jump almost, there's going to be a lot of sections of the body that are just going to be cut off and not visible. And that's just how perspective works and foreshortening and things like that. So yeah, it's not going to be, every little detail is probably not going to be exposed in this picture. So I'm just working on the forearms. Build those out. Let's come back this way to the bicep and the shoulder here. Again, try to keep things somewhat even. So just depending on, how things are set up in your picture will determine the line work that you see from your own work. So we're just going to take that down. The hands there. Okay. And then I'm going to come in here and cut down on the chest just a little bit more. So I'll leave that there for now because our face is probably going to cover up that region. I'm just going to build out the rest of everything else, like the legs and the thighs. Just build that out to get the jump that I'm going for. So I'm going to bring out the bottom portion of the thigh and come up this way. Okay, and the reason I've done that in that vein is just I'm trying to just kind of see everything muscle-wise, and then what I would need to adjust in order to build out the rest of the leg. Okay. Look more like that on that leg. And then I can build the calf down this way. Have that go down into the leg. And then from there, you can build out the shoe. So let's make it a little bit thicker. Come out that way. And behind the foot. Now maybe we should shorten this part just a little bit. And then you want to come in on the other side with the other leg. And this knee is going to be facing more towards us, or I should say this leg. So our shape's going to be a little bit different. Building that out. Okay, so let's take the leg in that way. Kind of have a bend here. And then from like this part right here would be a good starting point for our calf. And then come back to this other side and kind of do the same thing. Build up our calf this way. And let's see, I keep looking at this leg and something's throwing me off, so I'm going to cut that down that way some. Okay, we take that down into the foot. Then we'd have just a little bit of the shoe right there. And take that up in there that way. Okay. So now, other little things, just adding some extra musculature into the body. And these lines will help us get a little separation from that. So let's go ahead, get these hands in here. And let's kind of build that up and slide it down. So we don't really want it to touch that edge there. So we got ourselves a nice little hand shape. Let's kind of have a little bit of division down in here. Adjust the forearms a little bit. Okay, and we're going to come over here and do the same thing on the other side. Come down on the hand that way. Take those fingers out into some knuckles. And we've got our two hands on there. Okay, so now I'm going to move into his face. With the pig, I'm drawing him with the pig mask on. So let's try and get that somewhat evenly balanced. We want to get that pig nostril shape right. Like that. Okay, and then we have our tusk that kind of comes out of the fur. So I'm going to make his tusk a little bit bigger than usual. Just so it looks a little bit more fierce. Okay, so now that I have that on the face, we can go ahead and we'll put in the eyes on here too. So the very simple almond shaped eyes. Okay, so we have that in there. And then they do this thing where, because they look kind of crazy, like they're not looking in the direction of, the way the character would actually be looking, which I think is kind of funny. And then we want to put in little things like, the wrinkles. From the eyes themselves. Okay. Now we want to get into things like the fur shape. So that'll be the part of the mask that comes down over his body. Before I get too far over though, I'm going to cover up some of these lines here, but I want to get like the top of the head and things like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and put some ridge lines here for the top of the eyes. Okay, and then that way I can get the head in here and work that. Into the pig ears, which those even have a little bit of fur that comes off, and then that comes down into the body as well. And then we have a little bit of fur or hair just coming off the ears itself. Okay, so I'm going to come over here. I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to change shape just a little bit of the ear. And then again, get a little bit of that fur to come down. Like that. Into the head. And get a little bit of fur right inside that area. So now we have ourselves our head. Okay, some other things that we want to do is obviously that fur that's on the body. It slightly is going to be seen here. So we can kind of make that come out over the legs. Then we can just kind of turn it this way. Okay. Now some things that I want to do. I want to cut down. I think I might have made them just a tad bit too muscular. So I'm going to cut down on the leg size a little bit. And that in turn will make us cut down on that knee. Okay. Now down here on the calf, we also have that pig's fur that comes off. So we'll do a little bit up here at the top. And we want to show that going down the leg. So we got a little bit of fur here. We'll show that going all the way down to the shoe. Like that. And then the shoe is actually kind of, like if you really look at it, it's almost designed like a sandal. So like I can come down here into the foot. And take that back. And then we would have individual toes. Going back that way, and I'm just going to define this toe a little bit more. And then I would just take that and get like a little sandal put underneath it that way. Okay, I can bring this over. Maybe get rid of the amount of detail. And the pants down in that area. And maybe shorten that back. Like that. And again, I want to come in here and get that pig fur to run down the leg all the way to the bottom. And then just as I come out, just kind of follow the shape of your calf. And you can change directions with the hair. And then down in here, you can add a couple more hairs in there just to get that separation. On the leg that way. Okay. Now, I'm going to want to do the same thing. I kind of want to bring that toe out. And then have that little sandal. Kind of go back into the foot. And then have some more toes. Drifting back that way. And what I can do is keep this as a base for that sandal. Going back that way. Okay. So, as we will know, our character's not quite that buff in his chest, so let's take him down just a little bit on both sides. Alright, so next thing we want to do is get his swords in there. So he's got very jagged swords. So first thing we'll do is we'll make it come out the bottom here. Okay, and then we can kind of have part of the wrap here come off. And we'll leave that bottom edge exposed. And then as we take the wrap around, we can change directions into how it's wrapped, just to make it seem a little bit more authentic. Okay, so we have that into there. I'm going to go ahead and go in here and bring the sword out. So I'm going to see a little bit of it there. And then we just have a small portion of it. There is no hilt on it per se. It's just kind of built in. Alright, so now I can just take it and curve it up. It's not such a huge curve, it's like a slight bend, so I really want to make sure that I get that right. So we're going to kind of keep it somewhat straight, and then as we get towards the end of it, we'll just bring it back down. That way we have a nice little curve here. Okay, so the sword, like I said, is jagged. So to add the jaggedness in there, all you have to do is draw out the shape that you want. And just make it jagged. All the way down. And these little rectangles will be the part that are cut out. Okay. So just go through there. And just erase out to a point where your swords look jagged. Okay, next thing I can do is we can run down along the edge here. Kind of didn't mean to do that. We want to go slightly above it. Okay, so I'm going to stay just above the top edge, like that. Okay, so that's just one sword. Now, the other thing I do want to do, because I'm going to forget about it if I don't do it now, so we have to think about the way the mask sits on the head, that it would also drape a little bit down the back side. So we want to add in some fur there. Okay. And then again down here, I'm going to add in the bottom of our sword. Okay, put a little bit of a ribbon tear here. And again, we just start with the wraps. And take them up and switch them around. So that looks more like a wrap. Okay. Now I'm going to have a little bit come out this way. And then if my arch is going that way, I want it to go the opposite direction. Around the other side. So let's take that up. And go a little bit higher. Go up a little bit more. All right, now we just want to do the same thing we did before. We want to kind of come through and add our jagged edges to the blade. You know, try your best to keep it even, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Then just erase out those lines. And we want to keep it close to the top, not quite touching it. Like that. Okay? So, some other things that we could do is if we come down into this area here, we can add a few more little lines to kind of sell the fur right there. And then same thing, just at certain points we can add in some fur lines to help us out. Okay, so now that we have that, because the style of Demon Slayer is kind of like very manga, like we do want to have those thick edges. So if we just go back through and just trace over everything, we have a nice bit of ink on everything to make it stand out. And then at the end, we just finish it up with a thick outside edge line, because that's like one of its key things to the show. Is having them thick lines, even though it's, you know, animated. Okay, so just kind of go through and just retrace everything. And you can make slight adjustments like I did there, where I kind of changed the direction. And just continue your way around. Anything that you want to leave out or add in, you know, that's the time to do it. And you can honestly, you can kind of quickly just go through there and trace this out, because especially like with the outline, we're going to go back over the outside of it anyway. So it'll kind of fix things up if it's not even. And again, I'm just using one of these Sharpie fine tip pens. Like I said, you can get these pretty cheap pretty much anywhere, Walmart, all that other stuff. You can get like a box of them for $3. It'll have 3 or 4 in there. Just depends on which store you go to. But that's what I use. I know there's specific like inking pens and things, but I just like the way that these look when used. So just gonna take that around, come more towards the center. And let's follow that chest back out. Those arms in there. And I'm just kind of sticking with the body for now, just because it's the meatiest part of the image. So I'm going to really go through here, make sure I get that fur detail around the ear, as well as this part that's draping over the back. And then just come in and you can really quickly just trace over your line work here that's inside these areas. And then we'll go back and get this outside fur. Okay, and then for the eyes, I'm going to kind of thicken out just that outside part. And then when I come in and get these tusks, you can add in a few little extra lines. So same thing like here on the nose. I'm just kind of thickening that up. Inside the nostril anyway. Okay, and then I want to do the same thing with this eye here. And then kind of thicken up the outer edge. And get those wrinkles in there that way. So now I can come back to the outside of the body. And we'll work our way out these arms. Down into the hands. Okay, so we have that done. Now I can come in here. The actual hand themselves. And just try to pick up as much of that detail as I can with my pen without going too crazy and losing what I got. Okay, so like going back over these wraps is a good time to kind of round out the outside edges just so they look like there's more depth to them and that they're actually rounded. Okay, and then we can come up to the top of the sword here, and I'm going to take my time because if I go too fast I'm probably going to lose a lot of the shape that I had to the sword. So I'll just take my time and go over these edges. And then once I have it connected here at the top, I can again take my time connecting it back down that way. So now I can come over here to this other hand, do the same process, just go in there and pick up all the details. And then really make sure that you round those wraps. And then again, you'll just work your way up the top of your sword. And see, I've already missed, so I don't forget it. I want the top of the head here. Miss some muscle work right there. Excuse me. So now I'm going to go back up the length of the sword and get my jagged edges on the blade. And then again, I want to make sure this line is not too close to the edge so I can have that on there. Now what I'm going to do before I thicken up those edges, so I'm going to go through here now and we're going to clean everything up. We're going to get rid of all our sketchy pencil work and line work. That should no longer be present in our image. Okay? So you want to add some pressure, but you don't want to add too much that you start smearing the ink. And again, that's just going to depend on the type of ink pen that you have. Okay, so like now that I've erased it and cleaned it off, kind of accidentally got rid of some of that fur line work in there. Okay, so now all that's left to do is to take my pen and thicken out the outside edge of the image. Okay. Alright. So while I'm doing that, again, this is an opportunity that I want to say thank you to everyone who has subscribed. Really do appreciate that. I love, teaching this stuff for you, but you gotta kind of help me out and use the comment section. Just because YouTube's got this weird thing where if you don't have 500 subscribers, you can't open your community tab and do polls. And I really am interested in knowing what you guys want to learn or what characters you want me to draw on any of these days. So whether it's Fun Draw Friday, Tiny Tuesdays, Digital Wednesdays, you want to see a time-lapse video or something, or just the Monday art lessons, let me know down in the comment what you want to see. My goal is to give you guys the art lessons and things that you want, but if you don't talk with me, I can't predict what it is you want to see. So I make sure I get it to you. That's what I do this for, is to get you guys the opportunity to learn whatever it is you want to learn. But you guys gotta let me know down in the comments. So please leave comments down there. Let me know what you want. Now I'm gonna be real careful with this sword. Taking that up there. But yeah, I'm gonna be honest with Demon Slayer. The premise of the show, the action and the animation, I love. Just not a huge fan of like, I love Inosuke, but just because he makes me laugh. And he's a very unique character at that too. Like, where all these other people have these, demon slaying forms where, they have the form of water, breathing techniques and fire techniques for breathing. He doesn't really have that per se, so he's just a very skilled warrior, and I appreciate that about him. I think the only thing that just turns me off from the show, honestly, and it's just my opinion, it's just weird when when a character's fighting and they sit there and tell you everything that they're thinking in their head. Like, you're like, oh no, this demon has the ability to absorb water, and if I use my water form, I can turn around and get this guy to jump to the left, and that will lead me to be able to finish with a breathing form 5 technique. Like, explaining it's just like, you don't have to explain it to me, just show me. And that's just my opinion. I just think it's weird that they explain everything out. But Inosuke makes it entertaining for me. So, and if you want to, down in the comments, you can let me know who your favorite Demon Slayer character is, or if you don't watch Demon Slayer and it's the first time you heard of it and you're gonna go check it out. It's very popular though, so I'm sure if you stop by the picture that you know who it is anyway. But yeah, just do me a favor, and if there's stuff you want to see, just please leave comments to let me know, because I will take it and plan it for the next week and make sure that I cover it to give you what you need. Okay, so you can see how by adding that thickness in there, we're now getting that style down in there. You just gotta be careful with the sword, because you can see on the right one over here, I kind of made that too thick, so it kind of bent it out. And when you're working with ink, you cannot go back and fix that stuff, so this makes it a little bit more difficult to clean up. Okay, so we're just going to continue around. Once I'm done, the sword's probably taken most of the time up, just because we have to follow those jagged edges. And that's the other thing too. I know these videos are long, but I hope it just helps you to realize like how, good art takes time. I know most people have like little time-lapse sped up versions of their lessons that they're teaching, but I think you can learn a lot. And unless it's monotonous, I mean, I may speed it up too. Like I could have speed up this part, but I just personally, me and how the way I learn, I'm a visual learner. I think seeing everything step by step and understanding the thoughts that are going into it can really kind of help you understand your own artwork and how to break it down. And like I said, and let you know just like how much time that good or decent artwork takes in order to make it look good. And everybody works at their own speed. I'm sure there are people who can knock this stuff out in 10 minutes and be done. But that's just not how I like to work. I like to actually take my time and make sure I get every fine detail that needs to be gotten. So all we have to do is just make it down the underside of the body to the other leg, and we're going to be good to go. Okay, and we take it down the sandal on the toes. Alright, and that's gonna pretty much do it. Again, thank you for stopping by. If you're new here and you like this kind of art and learning step by step, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the like button, as it'll help out. But yeah, the main thing is I just want you guys leaving comments just so I know what to do for you. Or I'm just going to keep winging it like this. But yeah, other than that, I hope you learned something. I hope you had fun. And y'all have a wonderful weekend. Remember, in the meantime, keep on sketching. Until next time, I'll see you in the next one. Alright? Bye.